My name is Allison Schmidt, and I'm with Cook Maran. Today I'm sitting down with Katie Dornhofer and Laura Carney from our East Hampton office. Our clients have always rented their homes. In the past, it would be more common for clients to use a realtor to place a tenant in their home for, let's say, the month of July, or for the entire summer season from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Now, with the rise of home sharing websites, it has become more common for our clients to use these and find renters through these types of websites. With that being said, the insurance implications have not changed, whether the home is being rented for the entire summer season or you are using a home sharing website.
We have the tenant that needs to be covered, and we have the landlord that needs to be covered. And what we have to teach our clients and our real estate professionals is really that you can't have one policy for all of that coverage. A tenant will need to get coverage most of the time for liability, which is required on the contract when they rent. They will have their own policy for contents and liability, and the landlord cannot be listed on that policy, which is a lot of people think that they can, and they try to put it in the contracts, but it never works. None of our insurance companies will do that. And really, you need an insurable interest in something in order to be listed on an insurance policy. Therefore, the landlord has their own policy, which is specifically for rental homes. And that's where their coverage comes for, with the liability, the home, if they have any personal contents in there.
Yeah, I think it's really important for people to understand that an insurance policy is protecting their interests, not anyone else's.
Right.
So the homeowners should have a policy protecting their interest in the home, and a tenant should have a policy protecting their interest for the time being in that home.
Correct.
When you start to rent your home, it is also a really good time to look at your limits of liability as a landlord. When you open your home to renters, you don't know what they're doing or who they're inviting into the home. If there were to be an injury on the property, your liability limits could come into play. So it's always important to review those prior to having a tenant come into play. And if you do not have an excess liability policy, that renting your home would definitely be a trigger for wanting to talk to your insurance professional about that.
Yeah, I feel like, most commonly, the amount of coverage that people have on a standard homeowner's policy is going to be $500,000. In this day and age, you're not settling a claim for $500,000. There's absolutely no way. There's a number of things that can go wrong. People could have parties, someone could, fall in a pool, or,
even if the tenant is the one that's responsible for that liability, the landlord is still going to get sued also.
It's still their
As the
property.
homeowner, you're going to
sure
be
that
brought
you have
into
the
a
right
lawsuit.
amount.
One of the questions that we get all the time is, how does a tenant go about getting liability for a home that they're staying in for a month or less than that? So we do have this conversation with real estate agents and renters all the time.
Normally, what we first suggest to people is if they have a primary home of their own and they have a tenant's policy in the city, or they have a homeowner policy in another state, to definitely contact their agent first and see if they can just put an endorsement on extending liability to the home that they're renting. That way they're covered, it's not expensive at all, and it's the easiest way to go. The other option, because a lot of companies actually won't extend liability, but it's always good to check first, is to write a renter's policy while you're actually renting that home. And then you're covered for your personal property on top of your liability. And you just cancel it when you're done renting.
But the bottom line is, anything we're talking about today would not be a substitute for thoroughly reviewing your own insurance policy and contract, and sitting down and having a full discussion with your insurance professional about how you will be using your home. The pricing really, it doesn't vary that much. And, do you want to save on the front end and potentially gamble and not have the claim covered? We have a client right now who didn't disclose that they were renting their home, and unfortunately the house had a fire. And now the possibility of a $500,000 claim being denied is on the table. They
Where
could have
he
paid a
would've
couple
had
of $100
total
more,
coverage,
and had the peace of mind knowing that a claim would have been covered in that case.
Mhm.